News Talk 770 AM 92.5 FM WVNN. We're back here on the Yaffee program. It's a revolution in common sense. That's how it works here. Christopher Reed joining as well, host of the Daily Controversy. And for the final segment, we always ask Chris maybe about a story we missed today. So, Chris, got anything for us today?
Yeah, well, it's the story of what happens when you elect the communists and they pretend to be moderates. Boeing is a huge company that is in Virginia, has thousands of jobs. Well, looks like they're raising the taxes higher than California, and they're going to raise the corporate taxes. And guess what? Boeing decided, you know what? We're going to go to St. Louis, and we're going to take all those jobs, and we're going to give them to a state that doesn't tax us to death. And this is one of many companies that's doing this. This is also happening in New York City under Mandami. He was there for all of a month before he's going to raise property taxes, and the average person that's going to get hit, the average person that's going to get hit with the property tax is making between $120,000 to like $200,000, which sounds like a lot of money here, but in New York, if you make $120,000, your take home after state, local, and federal taxes is about $58,000. So you're actually working more for the government than yourself. So it's just it's a life lesson, right? If you elect someone because the Democrats say they're moderate, they're not moderate. They used to be moderate. There's two moderates, and I've said this many times. Henry Cuellar of Texas, he's moderate, and Fetterman in the Senate, he's moderate. But both of them vote with the Democrats like 85% of the time. So moderate is like, they don't vote 97%, okay? So, yeah, Virginia wanted this Abigail Spanberger, she's going to make things affordable. Mandami is going to tax the rich. Well, guess what? They're not raising taxes on the ultra wealthy because the New York governor's smart enough to realize if you do that, you're going to lose a ton of tax base. California, because of their wealth tax, that's going to I think it'll get kicked out by the Supreme Court because I don't think you can do this. They lost between $500 billion and $1 trillion of tax base, and they're going to have $70 billion budget coming up, deficit, and you can't print money if you're California. That's the problem. You're going to have to cut. So if people want to elect Democrats, it'll destroy your economy. It's going to lose thousands of jobs. It will be way less affordable. If you compare red states to blue states, compare grocery prices, rent prices, housing prices, red states are infinitely more affordable, and it's not even close. The averages are not. They're not even close. And so when the Democrats talk about affordability, it's like, it would be like Epstein talking about morality. It would be the same thing. But people are stupid and people will believe it, and it's their own fault. So I honestly, when I see all this, I think there should be a rule, right? And this is, look, I believe in freedom of movement, all that stuff. But if you elect a Democrat and he raises your taxes, he makes it to where you lose your job. He makes it to where groceries and rent and housing all go up. You have to stay in that state or city until that person you elected is out, because you should have to suffer the consequences of your decision, and you should not be allowed to leave. And I don't care how much hardship it puts on you. You deserve it. You did something that was stupid and, in my mind, evil. So, your thousands of people, and in Virginia, they're going to be outside. They won't have a job. They're going to be out of a job, and they may have grandparents and they can't move because they got to stay with them, or maybe their wife's got a health issue or husband, and they're just, what are they going to do? They're going to get on. They'll find something else, maybe that pays a lot less, but I guarantee you a lot of the people that are going to get fired from those Boeing jobs are going to be the same people that voted for Abigail Spanberger. So I feel bad for the ones that didn't. If they didn't vote for him, those people should move. I would do anything to help them. The ones that voted for, I hope they suffer in a way that they learn from their mistakes. Many won't, but at least some will, because that seems to be the only way that people stop being stupid. But again, this is always going to be true of the Democratic Party, because the Democratic Party has and will always be for higher regulation, which makes the cost of goods more, higher taxes, which means that's going to get passed on to the consumer. And they're always going to be for more environmental regulation, which means instead of it taking a couple months to get a permit in a red state, it can take you 5 years in blue states, which means the cost of building a house or building an apartment complex can often be between 2 to 3 times more than red states. And again, if people would take some time, like I love sports, but instead of spending like 5 hours a week learning sports, spend 10 minutes a week understanding economics and politics. And if you don't have the time to do that, then don't freaking vote, because you shouldn't be voting if you don't know what you're doing. Look, it's you can do it. I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying you shouldn't. And what makes me so angry is when these people that I see vote for Democrats and they interview them, I didn't know she was going to do that. I thought she was going to make things more affordable. Well, I don't have any sympathy for you. You're an idiot. You deserve this. Like, we can't fix stupid. So what are your thoughts, Yaffee? I think I wish I could have been more blunt. I feel that was super nuanced, but what are your thoughts?
Well, actually, let me put it this way. It's frustrating because what the Democrat Party does in these situations, the left, even beyond the Democrat Party, is they play on emotion. So obviously there are going to be some people in the country that feel like I should make more money. Things are too expensive. And there might even be some truth to that. But they only want to do economics by force. That is always their solution. So they're either going to force businesses to lower prices through price controls, force businesses to pay their employees more through more regulation, whether it's minimum wage or unionization, or force whatever it is, force redistribution of wealth. So we're just going to hand you cash by taking money by force from the rich and giving it to you. But usually it's screwed up through some type of giant government bureaucracy. So it's not even like it's really even efficient when they do that. And people just buy into it because you're right. You need to be informed about economics and politics. You have to look at the big picture. But so many people, they don't look at the big picture. They look at their own personal circumstance. So that's how the UAW, for instance, they tried to come into Alabama, didn't work, but they did in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and they come in and they basically just say, look, vote for us, and we're going to force them to pay you more. And in the small, short term, that sounds great. Oh, well, great, I want more money. But look at places in Pennsylvania. Look at places in Michigan. Look at places, even in New York, the Rust Belt. Why is it rusting? Because the unions basically destroyed the business environment. So those jobs left. There's no guarantee that the jobs or the business will stay there forever or succeed forever. But that's how they look at things. You're exactly right. And this is why we do what we do, I guess. This is why we talk about what we
try
talk
to help
about.
people.
I
think our voters in Alabama are smart, but we're not every state, sadly.
Yeah. All right, Christopher Reed, host of The Daily Controversy. Check out his show 8 to 10 p.m. on WVNN. Thanks to Walker for producing, and I'll be back tomorrow at the same time. See you then.
The Yaffee Program.
You didn't start a business just to keep the lights on. You're here to sell more today than yesterday. You're here to win. Lucky for you, Shopify built the best converting checkout on the planet. Like the just one tapping, ridiculously fast acting, sky-high sales stacking, champion of checkouts. That's the good stuff right there. So if your business is in it to win it, win with Shopify. Start your free trial today at shopify.com/win.
Hi, I'm Joe Saul-Sehy, host of the Stacking Benjamins podcast. Every week, we talk personal finance trends.
I think it's tough finding like a stock certificate from 1987 in Grandpa's drawer. Wait until you need the Face ID to unlock Cash App.
It's so sad what money does to people.
It happens. That's why you don't tell anybody what you got.
That guy had the brilliant idea. I don't want my relatives to know how much money I have. So every time I go to Thanksgiving, I ask them if I can borrow more.
Stealth wealth.
Stacking Benjamins. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
The CJ Pearson Show.
Every week, we'll take on the biggest cultural, political, and moral battles in America head on.
CJ presents the most passionate voices in the Black community.
When you're going around and talking to people in actual communities, you get to know what people actually care about.
As a Black man, why can't I be the first one in my family to graduate from college? Why can't it be me?
Yeah.
Shift the way that I think about the world.
Bold truth, real conviction, zero permission. This is the CJ Pearson Show.
The CJ Pearson Show. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.